The table was already set when I arrived, plates aligned with unnecessary precision, candles lit despite the overhead lights being on. My sister had planned this dinner carefully. She always did when there was an audience. "This is Mark," she said brightly, one hand resting on his arm as if to anchor him in place. "My boyfriend." Mark smiled politely, shook hands, said all the right things. He looked around the table, absorbing faces, dynamics, the unspoken hierarchy of who mattered and who didn't. When his eyes landed on me, they lingered a fraction longer than the others. I noticed then that everyone was watching me. Not openly. Just enough. Dinner progressed in the way it always did. Updates about promotions, property prices, vacations framed as investments rather than pleasure. My role was familiar listener, nodder, background. Mark asked questions. He seemed genuinely curious, or maybe just well-mannered. He asked my father about his retirement plans, my mother about her volunteer to me. Then he turned to me. "So what do you do for work?" It was a simple question, neutral, an invitation. Before I could answer, my mother laughed softly and waved a hand in the air. "Oh, don't embarrass us," she said, as if she were saving everyone time. The table responded instantly. Smiles, chuckles. Someone shook their head like this was an old joke with reliable timing. My sister didn't miss her cue. "Yeah," she added lightly, sipping her wine. "Maybe lie this time so you don't sound so pathetic." Mark froze. Just slightly. His smile stayed, but his eyes shifted back to me, uncertain now. I felt something familiar tighten in my chest, not surprise, not even hurt. Recognition. This was the version of me they preferred, diminished, safely unimpressive, a contrast that made everyone else shine brighter. I smiled. Not tightly, not sarcastically, just enough to signal that I had heard them and chosen not to react. "It's fine," I said. "I don't mind." Silence stretched, not dramatic, just long enough to be noticeable. "Well," Mark asked gently, "what do you do?" "I work in compliance," I said. "Risk assessment, mostly." My mother waved again. "It's complicated," she said to him. "Not exactly." "Actually," Mark interrupted, still looking at me, "that's interesting." It was a small interruption. Polite. But it landed with weight. "I work in corporate audit," he continued. "We deal with compliance teams all the time." "Which sector?" "Which factoring?" I said. "Nonprofits, educational institutions, some municipal contracts." Mark's posture changed, subtly. He leaned back, studying me now, not out of courtesy but focus. "So you're on the regulatory side?" "Yes." He nodded slowly. "That's significant." My sister laughed a little too loudly. "Trust me, it's not as impressive as it sounds." Mark didn't laugh. "Actually," he said, choosing his words carefully, "those roles carry a lot of responsibility. Oversight, accountability. One wrong call can cost organizations their funding." I felt my mother stiffen beside me. Mark turned fully toward me now. "Do you work with review boards directly?" "Yes," I said. "I sit on two." That did it. The table went quiet in a way that couldn't be smoothed over with humor. Forks paused. My father cleared his throat but didn't speak. Mark's eyebrows lifted. "Wow, that's not easy to get into." I shrugged slightly. "It's a long process." My sister stared at her plate. My mother's smile had thinned, recalibrating. "So," Mark said after a moment, "you probably know a lot about grant approvals."
Yes.
He nodded again, then hesitated. "My firm is advising a community association right now. They're applying for expanded funding." My mother inhaled sharply. I recognized the name when he said it. Of course I did. "That association," Mark continued, unaware of the shift around him, "has been having trouble with compliance lately. Missing disclosures, internal inconsistencies." No one spoke. "They're under review," I said calmly. Mark blinked. "They are."
Nice.
My sister looked up now. "Under review by who?" I met her eyes. "By the foundation." The color drained from her face. My mother recovered first. "I'm sure it's Wickling," she said quickly. "These things happen." "They do," I agreed. "Especially when documentation isn't accurate." Mark frowned slightly. "Is there a way to clarify things? Expedite the process?" I didn't answer immediately. I took a sip of water. Let the question exist without rushing to fix it. "The process is neutral," I said finally. It responds to information. That's all. Mark nodded, absorbing this, his respect for me now unmistakable. Makes sense. No one laughed anymore. Dinner resumed, but the energy had shifted permanently. Conversation avoided me now, not dismissively, but cautiously. My sister didn't make another joke. My mother watched me with something like uncertainty. When it was time to leave, Mark shook my hand again. "It was really nice meeting you," he said, sincerely. "Likewise," I replied. In the days that followed, my phone buzzed with unfamiliar messages, clarifications, questions framed as casual, invitations to talk. I answered some. Briefly. Professionally. I didn't confront anyone about the dinner. I didn't need to. The power hadn't reversed loudly or cruelly. It had simply corrected itself. At the next family gathering, no one joked about my work. They asked questions instead. And for the first time, I didn't feel the need to smile to survive.